Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Israelite Women's Advanced Bible Study. Thursday night, 25th of August, 2022. We'll be dealing with the ending of the book of 2 Samuel later on for our Bible reading and breakdown. I'm asking everybody to like and share, subscribe to Prophets of Awakening channel, and hit the notification button if you can. It'd be appreciated. This is a non-Messianic channel, and by that we mean it's the Tanakh, the Old Testament, and so-called Book of Remembrance and the Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses. We don't subscribe to the New Testament on this channel. Shalom and welcome to the Prophets of Awakening channel. Welcome to our Israelite Women's Advanced Bible Study. We're going to do our moment of silence, prayer, Psalms, we do some women's health, and we're going to current events, a little need to know information. Then we do our Q&A, and we go into our Bible reading and breakdown. Okay, this moment of silence is for our Creator and this Redeemer, the Lord of hosts, and all that they are doing to bring about our regathering and take us home to our homeland. Oh Lord, we come before Thee this day, thanking You for Your mercy and Your great power. And we appreciate You, O Lord, for Your patience and guidance in these last days. Oh Lord, we thank You for awakening us to this great understanding of Your word. We come before You that You keep, direct, and guide us through the upcoming week, O Lord, and for their trials and pestilence and mayhem at every turn. And we see Your mighty hand in the world's affairs and how You are constructing Your people's deliverance. And we trust and rely upon Thee. And for this cause, we honor and respect You greatly. Turn not Thy face from us, but allow us in our searching of You, O Lord, to find You and to dwell with You. Peace be unto You. Okay? So with that being said, I'll read a song. Okay? When we Psalm 41, it's abuse and assurance. Blessed is he that considereth the poor. The Lord will deliver him in time of trouble. The Lord will preserve him and keep him alive. And he shall be blessed upon the earth. And thou wilt not deliver him into the will of his enemies. The Lord will strengthen him upon the bed of languishing. Thou wilt make all his bed in his sickness. I said, Lord, be merciful unto me, heal my soul, for I have sinned against Thee. My enemies speak evil of me. When shall he die, and his name perish? And if he come to see me, he speaketh vanity. His heart gathereth iniquity to itself. When he cometh abroad, he telleth it. All that hate me whisper together against me. Against me do they devise my hurt. An evil disease, say they, cleaveth fast unto him. And now that he lieth, he shall rise up no more. Yea, mine own familiar friends, in whom I trusted, which did eat of my bread, have lifted up his heel against me. But thou, O Lord, be merciful unto me, and raise me up, that I may requite them. By this I know that thou favorest me, because mine enemies doeth not triumph over me. And as for me, thou upholdest me in mine integrity, and setteth me before thy face forever. Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, from everlasting and to everlasting. Amen and amen. Okay, that was Psalm 41. It's abuse and assurance. It's the Psalm of David. Anybody got any comments?
Shalom.
Okay.
In this song, I kind of get out of this, that David knew that he had done, much good, but he know with doing that good, it did not erase, his sins either, you know.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So he's actually storing up blessing for himself. He's praying in advance.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. And there's some. Okay. So shalom. Okay. So we got our women's health coming up now. So I'm gonna let you, Michelle, have it.
Okay. So I'm gonna do a little recap on melons. The summer is coming to an end, and I'm a person that loves melons. Any kind of melons, I love them, and I just want to share a little something that this summer I went on a fruit and vegetable diet. I did include meat. I just didn't, forget about meats. I did include meats, but melon is one of my favorite fruits, and I did eat a lot of melon. So I'm hating the summer is coming to an end because that's the time to get really good melons. So, and here in this area, we have melons that are called Sugartown melons, which are very sweet. So, I just wanted to do a little recap on the health benefits of melons. And if no one has had any this summer yet, get you a good melon before the summer is out. Okay. Health benefits of melon. Besides the aroma and pleasant taste of melon, there are many benefits in terms of health. It contributes to a healthy life with the help of high levels of vitamins and nutrients contains. Melon is rich in vitamin A, B, and C. It also contains plenty of vitamin B complex such as B1, B3, B5, and B6. Also, it contains vitamin E and K. It also contains rich amounts of sodium, potassium, magnesium, iron, copper, and alpha beta carotene. Here are some health benefits of eating melon. It strengthens the immune system. It stimulates red blood cells and revitalizes the immune system. It's rich in vitamin C. Because of this feature, it strengthens the immune system against attacks of foreign substances and bacteria attacking the body. It increases the fight against free radicals in the body. Helps to fight stress, protects eye health, it is very rich in beta carotene that protects eye health and vision. It is converted into vitamin A that enhances the vision of beta carotene, which is observed by the body. Okay. It protects lung health, eliminate menstrual problems. It contains plenty of vitamin C in women's menstrual cycle regularly and provides relief from cramps and pains caused by menstruation. It can also prevent blood clots during menstruation. It makes it easy to lose weight. I can agree with that one. Okay, it is useful for bowel health. Melon can relieve toothaches. It can be applied to a sore place or a melon shell. It can be boiled and cooled in water and gargled applied to the painful tooth. So you can boil the melon shell, let it cool, and gargle it for tooth pain. It contains plenty of vitamin C to renew the skin, vital in bone health, rich in electrolytes and water. So grab you a colorful and sweet melon, which is fat free and low in calories, yet packed with essential nutrients that help lower your risk for certain diseases and help to keep you looking and feeling great. So be cool and well hydrated like a chilled melon. I'm going to read Numbers 11, 1 through 6. Um, Verse 1. And when the people complained, it displeased the Lord, and the Lord heard it, and his anger was kindled, and the fire of the Lord burnt among them and consumed them, that they were in the uttermost parts of the camp. And the people cried unto Moses, and when Moses prayed unto the Lord, the fire was quenched. And he called the name of the place Taberah, I guess I'm saying that right, because the fire of the Lord burnt among them. 4. And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lusting. And the children of Israel also wept again, and said, Who shall give us flesh to eat? We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic. Verse 6. But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all besides this manna before our eyes. That was Numbers 11, verses 1 through 6.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, like I said, especially down here, you know, you're gonna have to get you a melon every now and then, especially during the summer, and put it in the freezer, let it cool,
Oh,
and
yes.
eat it. So you can, it just looks healthy. Okay. So with that being said, anybody have any comments on that or anything they want to say about it or add to it? Okay. We're gonna go into our current events.
We must be very straightforward with you today, because this is a very serious issue. After 2 years of continued interruptions in food production, global food supplies have gotten really tight. But now that extreme weather events are leading to the mass destruction of crops and the liquidation of beef cow herds, while a bird flu pandemic is resulting in the depopulation of millions of egg-laying chickens, food supplies are set to get even tighter. And when people start realizing that massive shortages are emerging everywhere, it's safe to say that things are gonna get a lot crazier. When even the United Nations starts using the word biblical to describe the famine that the world is facing, that is a sign that the hour is very late. Right now, food prices are aggressively shooting higher, but given that the Federal Reserve is still scrambling to contain inflation growth, this is about as low as food prices are going to get for the foreseeable future, and that is going to have very serious implications during the times that are ahead. We still have a window of opportunity before the next wave of trouble comes along, and in this video, we're going to show you why you should use this window of opportunity to buy lots of food and store it someplace safe. Before moving on, please make sure you leave a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with the most important news. Now, when we talk about stockpiling food, some people often think that if they have a couple of months' worth of food stored up in their pantry, they will be just fine. But the truth is that this isn't nearly enough for the reality that we're about to face. We actually should have enough food to feed every single person in our household for an extended period of time. And honestly, Many of us will need much more than that, because when widespread shortages and waves of panic buying start hitting our local grocery stores and supermarkets again, many of our friends, neighbors, and extended family members that did not prepare in advance will come knocking on our doors asking for help. Millions of Americans out there are already struggling to afford their everyday necessities and turning to food banks to have enough to eat and to feed their children. The overwhelming demand that we are witnessing at food banks around the nation right now gives us some clues about what we can expect as economic conditions continue to deteriorate. In Texas, 21.4% of residents in the Houston metro area reported being food scarce between June 1st through July 13th, according to the U.S. Census Bureau's Household Pulse Survey. With inflation, with the gas prices, we are seeing a rising increase in the number of families out to us, revealed Shane Baker, a food pantry coordinator with Catholic Charities, which partners with the Houston Food Bank. This summer, millions of children are experiencing food insecurity because they can't have access to school meals. Maya Medina, program manager at No Kid Hungry Texas, a national campaign aimed at ending childhood hunger, says that schools are often the front lines of food insecure children, saying during the school year, kids can rely on school meal programs like breakfast, lunch, and after-school meals. But when school is out, many of those meals disappear, Medina said. Summer is the hungriest time for a lot of our kids and teens. That means they miss out on a lot of the consistent nutrition that they used to, or that their families have to stretch their budgets even further than they anticipated. Right now, an estimated 38.3 million individuals in the United States are living in a household that is defined as food insecure. All over the country, food banks are making every effort to meet the higher demand due to decreased donations, supply chain delays, and inflation. In Chicago, Illinois, Man Yi Lee, a spokesperson for the Greater Chicago Food Depository, notes that demand for supplies is steadily rising across all of their facilities. We are definitely seeing an increase in demand for food throughout our network of 700 community partners, including food pantries, shelters, and soup kitchens, she said. With inflation at a 40-year high, prices for food items like eggs and meat are up by 19.4%, meaning that food is currently more costly now than other goods. Explained Joe Sostrom, president and CEO of the Food Bank of Contra Costa and Solano. These prices continue to impact the most vulnerable in our community, especially in combination with elevated gas prices. Supply chain shortages and the long-term effects of the pandemic persist, Sostrom added. A new USDA report shows that Maine now ranks 5th in the nation for very low household food security and 1st in the New England area. Food banks in the region are seeing more and more people in need of assistance. Last year, the Good Shepherd Food Bank of Maine and its partners distributed 31.6 million meals. That's a 16% increase over the prior year, according to Jessica Donahue, Director of Marketing and Communications for the organization. One of our partner agencies, Augusta Food Bank, located in central Maine, recently said the amount of food distributed by them has increased by 67% over 2 years ago, and there's no sign of it slowing down anytime soon, Donahue exposed. There are 40 to 50 cars lined up along the road leading to our Hunger Relief Partners building every Thursday morning for Free Food Thursday. During the day, they usually see 85-plus cars pass through, distributing 50,000 meals every month, she continued, emphasizing that this is only one of our nearly 600 partners. People can stay in line for up to 6 hours to be able to get a box filled with fresh produce, cereals, and non-perishables. This is the reality of what we are currently facing. So many Americans are already in desperate need, and this perfect storm is just getting started. Can you even imagine sitting in your vehicle for 6 hours, waiting to get some supplies so you can have a meal? This is how desperate some families in the United States have already become. A new survey conducted by the Urban Institute found that in 2022, food insecurity rose to roughly the same level this June and July as it reached in March and April 2020. 1 in 5 adults reported experiencing food insecurity in the previous 30 days. Among adults with jobs, 17.3% said they had experienced food insecurity, compared with 16.3% in 2020, researchers highlighted. And as we mentioned at the beginning of this all-important video, the United Nations is using the word biblical to describe the famine and starvation that is coming all around the world. Recent projections released by the UN's World Food Programme predicted that the number of people facing acute food insecurity stood to rise to 265 million by the end of this year, up from 135 million just a year ago. That would mean an additional 130 million people were living on the edge of starvation, largely due to the worsening global economic conditions, with wages, supply chains, and production under pressure all around the world. The International Monetary Fund warned that the global economy was likely to experience the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression, predicting global growth would contract by 3% this year. WFP Executive Director David Beasley said that if we can't reach these people with the life-saving assistance they need, our analysis shows that 300,000 people could starve to death.
So I'm here with the next level of crypto security,
Okay, any comments on that?
He said one thing right, biblical. He said that right. We see it's happening, but we just have to continue to do the best that we can do and store up as much as you can. It's not easy. We already considered lower, middle class, living, week to week off of what we're making now, but you just have to prepare the best, that you can.
Right. It's like it's no excuse because of everybody's sounding an alarm. Everybody's sounding an alarm all over the place, and then you can, the signs are there. You can see it. Just a matter of time.
Right.
You can't wait till the last minute. Yeah. Okay.
That we must talk about. Have you noticed how so many young people are dying of heart attacks? I know I've spoken about this in the past and repeatedly, but there's a need to talk more about this and try and understand why heart attacks are suddenly claiming young lives. For the longest time, heart ailments were problems we associated with older people, those above the age of 60. But earlier today, a young politician died in India. She was all of 42. She died of a heart attack. A couple of months ago, it was singer KK. He was 53 years old. He died of a heart attack. Cricketer Shane Warne, 52 years old, again died of a heart attack. Young actors have died. Young athletes have died. They were all seemingly fit people. So what went wrong? Before we put together this story, we spoke to some doctors to look for answers, and this is what they told us. They said there are 6 things that make a person vulnerable to heart attacks: diabetes, blood pressure, blood cholesterol, smoking, family history, and lifestyle. How vulnerable you are to a heart attack depends on how you fare on this chart. But here's the thing. Neither high sugar levels nor high blood cholesterol levels is a new phenomenon. People in their 30s and 40s have been diagnosed with these problems for a while now. People in their 30s and 40s have also been smoking for generations now. So what has changed recently? And this is where we need to understand the biology behind a heart attack. What triggers it? A person suffers a heart attack when the low flow of blood, and in fact, the flow of blood to the heart is reduced or blocked. Why does that happen? Because of a blockage in the arteries. It does not happen overnight. It takes years of fat buildup or high levels of cholesterol or the likes. The narrower the arteries, the lesser the flow of the blood. Now, some of you may be surprised to learn that by the time a person reaches a late 20s or early 30s, man or woman, they're likely to already have a certain amount of blockage in the arteries. The blockage, however, is mostly negligible. But one episode of stress can sometimes push the heart over the edge. It can be anything, a new workout regime, a physical ailment, or a stressful life event. Now, the Wuhan virus has been that stressful event for a lot of young people, and old, of course. They're either grieving someone, or stressing over a lost job, or their body is stressed because of long COVID or COVID-related heart problems. And this is where we must also bring in the role of lifestyle changes. You see, most young people don't get regular heart checkups. And it's obviously because for the longest time, there has not been the need to get your heart checked at an early age. So without pre-cardiac checkups, people sign up for rigorous workout routines. They lift weights, experiment with high-intensity training. Sometimes their heart can't afford this physical stress. But how do you explain this to a workout-obsessed generation? Then there's also the stress from work, what we call occupational stress. It is constantly on the rise. Sometimes the body is also stressed because of a sedentary lifestyle, obesity, or smoking. All of these contribute to heart attacks at a young age. So if you ask what has changed in the last couple of years, it's three things. One, pandemic. Two, stress levels. And three, high-intensity workouts. While the changes have been universal, there are a couple of things that may explain why Indians seem to be more at risk of heart problems. Number one is genetics. Indians have a high risk of heart diseases. Studies say Indians also have smaller blood vessels. And they suffer heart diseases at least 10 years before people in the West, meaning despite all the fried food an American might have, a heart disease only in his 60s. But when an Indian consumes the same food, he or she will likely have the same problems in their 50s and now increasingly in their 30s and 40s. And two, reason number two, Indians are also more at risk of premature diabetes. I'm sure you know that India is called the world's diabetes capital. And diabetes, like we mentioned, is one of the leading causes of heart attacks. So what should you do to stay safe? Go for routine health checkups, especially if you have a family history of heart problems. Doctors say heart ailments in youngsters mostly go undiagnosed. You should keep an eye out for some symptoms of heart problems. Your body could.
Okay. So we see right here that this is no it's no such thing no more as getting older and having heart attacks. I think a couple of months ago, somebody, I think they was like in age 18, the teenager had a heart attack and died. Okay.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. What you're looking at is a very real topic. Yes, slavery is on the ballot in some states. So we're going to get into exactly what they are talking about. And I want you to pay attention to the imagery as well as they talk about this issue, talking about the issue of slavery being on the ballot. Look at this. Right away, you go to the article and they say, yes, slavery is on the ballot in these states, and they're going to break it down by state. But notice the image there. Now, they know good and well that in both slavery and prison, that this image is not representative of the main people that they like to throw behind bars and put in slavery. You know, anyway, the caption on the image, it says a supervised prison work crew in Florida prepare sandbags against the impending arrival of Hurricane Dorian in 2019. Lawmakers in several states have addressed whether to outlaw slavery in their state constitutions, in some cases, except for voluntary work by incarcerated people. So, again, to me, that image does not represent neither slavery nor prisoners. Of course, these are people who are in the system, but what I mean is the overall image. We know who they like to throw behind bars here in this country. We know who they had in slavery in this country, right? And for those who always like to say, well, white people were in slavery as well, theirs was more like indentured servitude, where they were able to buy their way out of it, or should I say, work their way out over a specified period of time. And in no way were they treated the same as the so-called black man and woman in slavery. So anyway, let's get into the article. It says more than 150 years after it was officially outlawed in the United States, slavery will be on the ballot in 5 states in November as a new abolitionist movement seeks to reshape prison labor. So again, this right here is proving, breaking away from the article for a moment, it is proving what many of us have been saying, that they never really truly ended it, because the prison system just picked up and carried on where actual slavery dropped off, right? So they continued on under a different name, right? Of course, deceiving people into thinking that this is a correctional situation. Correctional, we're just trying to correct the minds of people who were committing crimes, whatever. Anyway.
If you're 45 to 65 years old in the United States without life,
it says 3 states, Colorado, Nebraska, and Utah, have approved similar ballot initiatives since 2018. This is the crown jewel of criminal justice reform, said Curtis Ray Davis II, who served 25 years for second-degree murder in Louisiana State Penitentiary, known as Angola, and is campaigning for the amendment in Louisiana following his experiences in incarceration. It says most people believe it was impossible to get the amendment on the ballot in Louisiana, but Louisiana and America should not be in the business of legalized slavery, he said in an interview. The 13th Amendment in the U.S. Constitution, ratified in 1865, abolished slavery and involuntary servitude in the United States, except as punishment for someone convicted of a crime. So, again, the 13th Amendment, if someone is convicted of a crime, then you can keep them basically as a slave. But here's the thing. This is why they go after, or they put charges on so-called black people, because they wanted to continue what they had started here in this country. And so this is why they would create impossible laws that they would only put on so-called black people. These laws that were things like loitering, because that was something that our people did back in the day. So they would get you for loitering, things like jaywalking, just simple things. They would make up laws. That's why they call it Jim Crow laws, because it was just different things that were made to control the black community. And if you stepped outside of that, you broke the law and thus were labeled a criminal. And so they had, according to their laws, a legal right to incarcerate you. Okay, so let's get back to the article. It says the exception clause loophole led to repressive 19th century laws in the South, known as black codes, that allowed authorities to incarcerate black people for petty crimes such as vagrancy, and then force them to work. Black codes were a precursor to the Jim Crow laws outlawed by the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Says we want to remove offensive language and provide protection for citizens from slavery and involuntary servitude. Max Parthas, co-director of the State Operations of the Abolish Slavery National Network and a co-host of a weekly online radio program. Abolition Today said in an interview, Parthas and other proponents also want to remove the exception clause from the 13th Amendment. They hope the stalled effort in Congress will gain momentum once states once states amend their constitutions. About 20 state constitutions have exception clauses that allow either slavery or involuntary servitude as punishment for crime. Vermont prides itself on being the first in the nation to ban slavery in 1977. I'm sorry, y'all. In 1777, but its constitution allows involuntary servitude in certain circumstances, such as to pay a debt, damage, fine, or other cost. So,
Okay. And then some, you never would have thought this, that in 2022, you've been hearing that kind of talk. Anybody familiar with that?
No, but here a while back, I don't know, maybe the beginning of the year or something, I was watching, a video where, in I think it's Mississippi and Alabama, that they're wanting to bring back you know what I'm saying?
Right,
The slavery.
right. That's
They're
what he's
trying to
saying.
push, right.
Right. They're trying to backdoor it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do it like she was saying about the black codes, and let everybody move free with the Emancipation Proclamation, but they came up with all these laws to find a way to put you in jail, and then when they put you in jail, you right back in servitude again.
Right.
Yeah.
They
It's
talking everything but money.
Oh yeah. That's why we see what's happening. It's time up. Okay, I got to need to know information.
hello and welcome back to the channel. Can y'all hear the drums beating? Can you hear the drums beating? Talking about the drums of war, y'all. They are definitely beating. Of course, the Bible talks about wars and rumors of wars, and that's exactly what this is right here. It is a rumor. But apparently, Russia told the world on what grounds they would start a nuclear war. They're telling you the grounds. So here we go. Let's get into it. So Russia just told the world why it would start a nuclear war. Okay. Kremlin clarifies existential threat precursor that would prompt nuclear war during the early days of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The Kremlin appeared to lean into the use of vague threats of nuclear war as a way of discouraging Western countries from supplying Ukraine with weapons, ammunition, and other military equipment. Senior Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov warned that an existential threat to Russia could be enough to warrant the use of nuclear weapons. Okay. In other words, they're saying, okay, if you come for us, we're coming for you. If you strike, we're going to strike back. That's what it sounds like to me. Back to the article, it says, we have a concept of domestic security, and it's public. You can read all the reasons for nuclear arms to be used, Peskov said. It prompted criticism from the Pentagon, with spokesperson or spokesman John Kirby describing the Kremlin's officials' statements or comments as dangerous. Is not the way a responsible nuclear power should act. That's what the Pentagon official said. In May, the deputy chairman of the Russian Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev, appeared to threaten the Western nations in a telegram post with the possibility of nuclear war. The Russian official warned of a catastrophic conflict that expanded beyond Ukrainian borders. Such a conflict always has the risk of turning into a full-fledged nuclear war, Medvedev said. This will be a catastrophic scenario for everyone. Y'all hear those drums? So, over the last 6 months, however, the closest the Ukrainian Russian conflict has come to a nuclear catastrophe has been the occupation of the Well, it sounds like to me Russia is pretty much trying to get people to back off. That's what it sounds like to me. They're trying to say, look, if you come for us, we're coming for you. If you do something, we're going to do something too. That's what it sounds like. What does it sound like to you? Okay.
Okay. Any comments on that? Okay. I'm gonna open it up for some questions. Any comments or anything? Anybody want to bring up something they wanted to talk about from Clubhouse last night? Cyber class, something you came across on YouTube? Got a question? Some information you want to share? Okay.
Tower of Babel.
Yes, we all heard stuff. How they thought that there were other dimensions, other worlds all around us, and how they wanted to try and make a window, so they could look through and see what's on the other side.
Well, maybe your window turned out to be a door, didn't it?
Not mine, those scientists!
Oh, the scientists!
Yes, the scientists!
Yes, the scientists.
I'm not one of those people who follows a lot of what's going on with CERN. I try to keep up more with the Bible's timeline versus man's timeline. And most of the things that happen at CERN is kept from the public. It's a secret nuclear facility. However, the main goals of CERN, they have outlined them on their website for all to view, which gives us a broad general overview of exactly what they are doing at CERN.
What they're trying to do there is mimic, approach the energies that happened at the beginning of the Big Bang.
So let's listen to this real quick. This is their main goal mission statement. Listen to this. At CERN, our work helps to uncover what the universe is made of. Oh, okay. So y'all don't know what the universe is made of and how it works. Oh, so y'all have no idea how the universe works. Oh, that's interesting because, if you read some of those anthropology books, astronomy books, you would think that they know exactly how the universe works. Well, yeah, anthropology as well. You would think they know exactly how it was made. But they say clear right here. The top scientist in the world says we don't know how the universe is made. We studying to uncover that.
And why is this research so important?
Well, if we want to understand our place in the universe, we need to get as deep down as we can get.
Well, let's continue reading. We do this by providing a unique range of particle accelerator facilities to researchers to advance the boundaries of human knowledge. So they got these particle accelerators that they have to advance the boundaries of human knowledge. They built these machines, right? These hydro colliders. That's okay. We'll get into that in a minute. And in the last statement, they say, uniting people from all over the world to push the frontiers of science, technology for the benefit of all, uncovering what the universe is made of. So they're trying to find God. How did God make us and how does it work? Right. So they want to uncover what the universe is made of. How did all this get here? I thought it was a big bang. Right. But I guess they still don't know what it was made of. Right. Because if they still looking for it, I guess it ain't a big bang. Right. They Really, they just giving us theories, scientific theories, right? They have no idea. Oh, God, help me preach this thing. Particle accelerator, Tower of Babel, uniting people, one world government, one king, one language, one world order, the new world order, Jasher, the book of Jasher 9 and 21. And all the princes of Nimrod and his great men took counsel together. And they said to each other, come, let us build ourselves a city. Let us build ourselves a city, and in it a strong tower, and it's reaching to the top of the heaven.
Let's talk about the Tower of Babel. When you take a look at here in scripture, they wanted to build a tower in a city that reaches into the heavens. And how is the enemy trying to do that in our day and age? Something called CERN.
They built CERN, the European organization, where they built it in their own city. Oh, and then they built them something in there, something that can reach to another realm, because they said they want to go beyond the universe. Oh, yeah, y'all don't understand what I'm saying. Let me continue. Josh 9 and 26. And all these people and all the families divided themselves into three parts. The first said, we want to ascend to heaven to fight God. The second said they want to ascend to heaven to make themselves God themselves, put themselves up there, and then God's for them to worship. And then the third part said, we want to ascend to heaven to smite God with bows and spears. So to make war with God. God knew of their works and their evil thoughts, and he saw the city and the tower they were building, CERN, the modern day Tower of Babel.
Okay. So anybody familiar with CERN? Anybody familiar with CERN?
No, I couldn't hardly hear you.
What do you mean?
Like you're kind of low.
Can you hear me now?
That's better. What was your question?
Is anybody familiar with CERN?
No. Can you explain that to us?
It's like a collider. It's like a machine. It's this big machine that they give particles, which is I was explaining that melanin is dark matter, and we know that melanin on the market now is worth more than gold. So
Right.
they got the machine that's creating this dark matter, but they're getting the dark matter from out of another dimension, and they're trying to bring it into this dimension. But you know, like, so one of the things you can do is CERE. So I mean, they do some good, do research on it. But the name of this video right here was CERN, the modern day Tower of Babel. Just go to YouTube and type that in. CERN, the modern day Tower of Babel. So what they're doing is getting these particles, and from the investigating that I did, you know, here and there, is that when they do get, you know, they have to do all this stuff, spend all this money on all this equipment, and they only get a little grain. They only produce a little bitty, you know, grain of this called nanoparticles, or like they say, God particle. But when they get it, they said all kind of hell break loose, chaos break out. Wherever they have it at, stored it, all kind of chaos break out. So, you know, that's what I understood about it. And then the place where they had this machine at is actually well, it was a whole bunch of, back in the day, back in over in I think it's Pergamum, somewhere up in there. They had a whole bunch of satanic and devil worshiping, and all that was going on in that region. So they chose that region to put that CERN there for a reason. But it's just you know, it's just some information off the top. You want to find out a lot more about it, like I said, you go and you can go to YouTube and type in CERN. Okay. So with that being said, I was going to go into the Bible reading, and then we'll close out. So like I said, I read Tuesday. I read 2 Samuel. I read 22. think it's 24 chapters in 2 Samuel, so we'll be going out of 2 Samuel tonight. So, yeah, it's got 24 chapters. So I'll read these last 2 chapters out of 2 Samuel, you know. Okay, so I'm in chapter 23, and it's the last words of David. And so when you understand who David is, and that David is the Messiah, I mean, I tell people, I would want to know what David's last words was. There should be a lot of revelations in it, okay? Because this is it. He had all kind of dealings with the Lord of hosts, and this at the end of his life. So you figure he had something very revealing to tell you. So in 2 Samuel 23, and it says, "Now these be the last words of David. David the son of Jesse said, and the man who was raised up on high, the anointed of God, of Jacob, and the sweet psalmist of Israel said." So we tell you right here in verse 1, he Messiah. In verse 2, "The Spirit of the Lord spake by me, and his words was in my tongue. The God of Israel said, the rock of Israel spake to me. He that ruleth over me, men must be just, ruling in the fear of God. And he shall be as the light of the morning when the sun rises, even in morning without clouds, as the tender grass springeth out of the earth by clear shining after rain. Although my house be not so with God, yet ye have made with me an everlasting covenant, ordered in all things and sure. For this is all my salvation and all my desire, although he maketh it not to grow. But the sons of Belial shall be all of them as thorns thrust away, because they cannot be taken with hands. But the Most High, but the man that shall touch them must be fenced with iron and a staff of a spear, and they shall be utterly burned with fire in the same place." Okay, this is David's mighty men, which are they descendants from giants. These be the names of the mighty men whom David had: the Tachmonite that sat in the seat, chief among the captains. The same was Adino the Ezonite. He lifted up his spear against 800, whom he slew at one time. And after him was Eleazar, the son of Dudo, the Ahoite, one of the 3 mighty men with David when they defiled the Philistines. They were there gathered together to battle, and the men of Israel were gone away. He arose and smote the Philistines until his hands was weary, and his hand cleaved unto the sword. And the Lord wrought a great victory that day, and the people returned after him only to the spoils. And after him was Shema, the son of Agag, the Harite, and the Philistines were gathered together into a troop, where was a piece of ground full of lentils, and the people fled from the Philistines. But he stood in the midst of the ground and defended it and slew the Philistines, and the Lord wrought a great victory. And the three of the 30 chief went down and came to David in the harvest time unto the cave of Adullam, and the troop of the Philistines pitched in the valley of Rephaim. And David was then in a hole, and the garrison of the Philistines was then in Bethlehem. And David longed and said, "Oh, that one could give me drink of the waters of the well of Bethlehem, which is by the gate." And the 3 mighty men brake through the hosts of the Philistines and drew water out of the well of Bethlehem that was by the gate, and took it and brought it to David. Nevertheless, he would not drink thereof, but poured it out unto the Lord. And he said, "Be it far from me, O Lord, that I should do this. Is not this the blood of the men that went in jeopardy of their lives Therefore, he would not drink it. These things did these three mighty men. And Abishai, the brother of Joab, the son of Zahar, was chief among three. And he lifted up his spear against 300 and slew him, and had the name among the three. Okay. Was he not most honorable of the three? Therefore he was their captain, albeit he obtained not into the first three. And Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, the son of a valiant man of Kabazeel, who had done many acts, he slew 2 lion-like men of Moab. He went down also and slew a lion in the midst of a pit in time of snow. And he slew an Egyptian, a goodly man, and the Egyptian had a spear in his hand, but he went down to him with a staff and plucked the spear out of the Egyptian's hand and slew him with his own spear. These things did Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, and had the name among the three mighty men. He was more honorable than the third, but he obtained not to the first three. And David set him over his guard. Asahel, the brother of Joab, was one of the 30. Enan, the son of Judah of Bethlehem. Shema, the Horadite. Ella, the Horadite. I can't say his name. Palite. Era, the son of Ikish of Tika. Abizir, the Athenite, and Bula. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is go to 37. Zekah, the Ammonite, and Nahara, Bera, the armor bearer, to Joab, the son of Zahar, Ara, the Etherite, Gareb, the Etherite, and Uriah, the Hittite. 37 in all. It was 37 giants that was around David from the time before he became king and all during his life. And notice that in verse 39, that's Uriah. That's Bathsheba's husband that David had killed. Okay, so 39, chapter Isaiah. Anybody got any questions on 2 Samuel 23? Okay, I got something I want to say about if you notice that in verse 15, David longed and said, "Oh, that one would give me drink of the water of the well of Bethlehem, which is by the gate." Then these three mighty men break through the host of the Philistines and drew water out of the well of Bethlehem that was by the gate, and took it and brought it to David. Nevertheless, he would not drink thereof, but poured it out unto the Lord. So when you go back to the book of Enoch, and those giants were born, those giants had a spirit that was contrary to the Most High, and they wouldn't submit. But these 33 giants right here, and the ones that was with Abraham when they went and rescued Lot, he put a spirit on them. And then not only that, these ones right here ascended from the giants that Abraham circumcised. So obviously something goes on with a man when he gets circumcised. But so a big division that happened with these giants because of Abraham. When Abraham circumcised these, the other ones didn't. They had a problem with the giants that were circumcised. They saw them as sellouts. So if you go to Genesis 15, you'll see it's a war that took place about that. A lot of people don't know it, but in Genesis chapter 15, let me get it. Chapter 14. Chapter 14, verse 1. It came to pass in the days of Armathal, king of Shinar, Eric, king of Elej, Kedar, king of Elam, and Tidal of nations, all these giants, descendants from giants, these nations are giants. Then two, that these made war with the bar chaos. See, so this one set of giants in verse 2, chapter 1, verse 1, and another set in verse 2. There's a war broke out. And that's how Lot got caught up in it. But the war is all about some of those giants had been circumcised. And they had turned and they were sided with Abraham. And they had a problem with it. You get a lot of better understanding of that if you go to and get the book of Lamech. It's a lot of information in there. They go more into detail about how that went down. Okay. So like I said, he put a spirit on these giants right here to the point where David, all David had to do was make a request. They pinned down by these Philistines outside of Bethlehem. But David said he longed for a drink of water out of the well in Bethlehem, and they break through, killing all kind of people to get to the well, get the water, and bring it back. That's how loyal they was. That's why the Most High was so hard on David, because David disrespected that when he had Uriah killed. We saw in the story earlier in 2 Samuel how loyal Uriah was to him, but he played it. Okay, so I'm in 2 Samuel 24, last chapter of 2 Samuel. David numbers Israel and Judah, and again the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he moved David against him to say, "Go number Israel and Judah." For the king said to Joab, the captain of the host, which was with him, "Go now through all the tribes of Israel, from Dan even to Bathsheba, and number ye the people, that I might know the number of the people." And Joab said unto the king, "Now the Lord thy God add unto thy people, how many soever they be, 100-fold, and that the eyes of my Lord the king may see it. But why doeth my Lord the king delight in this thing?" Notwithstanding the king's words prevailed against Joab and against the captains of the host. And Joab and the captains of the host went out from the presence of the Lord to number the people of Israel. And they passed over Jordan and pitched at Ar on the right side of the city that lieth in the midst of the river of Gad and toward Jazz. Okay. Then they came to Gilead, into the land of Tatim Hadashi, and they came to Danjan and about to Sidon, and came to the stronghold of Tyre, and all the cities of the Hivites and of the Canaanites, and they went out to the south of Judah, even unto Bathsheba. So when they had gone through all the land, they came to Jerusalem at the end of 9 months and 20 days. And Joab gave up the sum of the number of the people unto the king, and there was in Israel 800,000 valiant men that Judah swore, and the men of Judah were 500,000 men. And David's heart smote him after that he had numbered the people. And David said unto the Lord, I have sinned greatly that I have done that I have done. And now I beseech thee, O Lord, take away the iniquity of thy servant, for I have done very foolishly. For when David was up in the morning, the word of the Lord came unto the prophet Gad, David's seer, saying, Go and say unto David, Thus said the Lord, I offer thee 3 things. Choose thee one of them, that I may do it unto thee. So Gad came to David and told him, and he said unto him, Shall 7 years of famine come unto thee in thy land, or wilt thou flee 3 months before thy enemies, or while they pursue thee, or that there be 3 days pestilence in thy land? Now advise and see what answer I shall return to him that sent me. And David said unto Gad, I am in great strait. Let us fall now to the hand of the Lord, for his mercies are great, and let me not fall into the hands of man. So the Lord sent pestilence upon Israel from the morning even to the time appointed, And there died of people from Dan even to Bathsheba 70,000 men. And when the angel stretched out his hand upon Jerusalem to destroy it, the Lord repented him of the evil and said to the angel that destroyed the people, it is enough. Stay now thy hand. And the angel of the Lord was by the threshing place of Arnach the Jebusite. And David spake unto the Lord when he saw the angel that smote the people, and said, Lo, I have sinned, and I have done wickedly. But these sheep, what have they done? Let thine hand, I pray thee, be against me and against my father's house. And Gad came that day to David and said unto him, Go up, rear an altar unto the Lord in the threshing floor of Arnach the Jebusite. And David, according to the sayings of Gad, went up as the Lord commanded. And Arnach looked and saw the king and his servants coming on toward him. And Arnach went out and bowed himself before the king on his face upon the ground. And Arnach said, Wherefore is my lord the king come to his servant? And David said, To buy the threshing floor of thee, to build an altar unto the Lord, that the plague may be stayed from the people. And Arnach said unto David, Let my lord the king take and offer up what seemeth good unto him. Behold, here be oxen for burnt sacrifices, and thrashing instruments, and other instruments of the oxen for wood. All these things did Arnach as king give unto the king. And Arnach said unto the king, The Lord thy God accept thee. And the king said unto Arnach, Nay, but I will surely buy it of thee at a price. Neither will I offer burnt offerings unto the Lord my God of that which would cost me nothing. So David bought the threshing floor and the oxen for 50 shekels of silver. And David built there an altar unto the Lord, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. For the Lord was entreated for the land, and the plague was stayed from Israel. Okay. So that was chapter 24, the last chapter of 2 Samuel. Anybody have any comments on that? Anything ring a bell?
Okay, brother. I'm trying to get this thought together, because I remember before you went over you know, numbering the people. I want to say, I'm not sure if it was in First Chronicle or Second Chronicle,
Right,
when Satan had provoked David.
right,
So the Lord was upset with him then, right? In
right,
that, right?
right.
Okay. Okay.
That's why he came right here and see what he see. After he had, well, first of all, in at the very first of the chapter, this is one of those things when you how you write to divide the understanding of who the Lord of hosts is. But
Right. Okay.
if you're in 2 Samuel 23, 24, the okay, it says these are 24, yeah. It says it again, the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he moved David against them to say, Go number Israel and Judah. For the king said to Joab, the Lord of hosts, Joab, king, captain of the host, which was with him. And just like you said, Joab already know what happened the first time he did that. Joab know too. So Joab says, so he tells Joab, Go now through all the tribe of Israel, from Dan even unto Bathsheba, and number ye the people, that I may know the number of the people. Then Joab said in verse 3, Joab said unto the king, Now the Lord thy God add unto the people how many soever they be, 100-fold, and that the eyes of my Lord the king may see it. But why do my Lord the king delight in this thing? So he taking him back to the first time. You see that?
Yeah, I do.
So So David comes back in verse 4, notwithstanding. So David saying, yeah, I know what happened. See, notwithstanding, the king's word prevailed against Joab. See, Joab checked him because of what had happened. You know what happened the first time, but David being the king, prevailed over him and said, go ahead and number him anyway. And so then after he does that, then he come back over here and he says, after he came back and gave him the number of the people, 10, David's heart smote him. So David's countenance inside smote him after he had numbered the people. And David said unto the Lord, I have sinned greatly. So he was overwhelmed after after when Joab get back and tell him and gave him the number, he's overwhelmed because he know there was sin. And so he goes and confessed to the Lord about it. So the Lord sends Gad and tell him, give him 3 choices. Verse 13. So Gad came to David and told him and said unto him, shall 7 years of famine come unto thee into thy land as one? Or wilt thou flee 3 months before thy enemies while they pursue thee? Or 3, that there be 3 days pestilence in the land? Now the advice and says, now advise and see whatever I shall return to him that sent me. That's talking about the Lord of hosts. The Lord of hosts sent him. So David chose 3 days of pestilence. Right. So after 3 days, the angel had killed 70,000 people. So he sent Gad to go tell David to build a threshing floor on this guy's property to stay the angel, cut him off from the from the curse, the plague that was on them. Okay. Anybody have any other questions? Does that make any sense?
It does, but to me it seems like in Chronicles, and I found that in First Chronicles, chapter 21, right?
Right.
Is a repeat of 2 Samuel 24. Am I missing something here? Because like what you just read about Gad, right? It said, and the Lord spake unto Gad. This is in First Chronicle 21 and 9. And the Lord spake unto Gad, David's seer, saying, go and tell David, saying, thus saith the Lord, I offer thee 3 things. Choose thee one of them, that I may do it unto thee. And am I making sense when I say that?
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
Okay.
Right. David got during David's lifetime, he had Nathan. If you go to 2 Samuel,
okay,
Nathan was a seer.
Okay.
Gad was a seer.
Mm-hmm.
And then another seer. There was Nathan, Gad, and I can't think of the other one. But there's three prophets that dealt with David. And like I said, you won't see out of the 3, like I was saying before, David's last words was in chapter 23. So if you know who David is, that's the first place I would go see what David had to say in his last words. But not only that, you would want to know, I mean, you're saying that Nathan don't have a book? Nathan didn't write no book? And Gad didn't have a book? They had books. But like I say, that's where all the meat at, with these prophets and what they wrote during the time of David. But they took all that out because they didn't make JC the prophet, JC the Messiah. But when you understand who David is and all the goings on that happened with him and everything that was surrounding him, it connects a lot of dots. Yeah. Yeah, I think I know it's matter of fact, I got the book of Gad and I was reading a couple of 3 or 4 months ago. I had the book of Nathan because Nathan was saying Nathan was telling the story, the backstory on how what happened with Uriah, because Bathsheba's father was a high priest, and he was praying because of Bathsheba's beauty from the time she was born. He was praying to the Lord of hosts that she marry a king. He's saying that the beauty that Bathsheba possessed, she was worthy of a king, to be the wife of a king. So that's all he was praying. But Uriah was following him around because Uriah liked Bathsheba, and Uriah was overheard his prayers. And when he prayed, Uriah came and brought him everything that he had said. Uriah came right and brought it to him because he was hiding, and he was hiding, listening to his prayer. And he knew just what to do to get Bathsheba's hand, because the father had accepted. The father didn't want to get a daughter away, and he had he had been hiding and listening in the woods and the bushes to if I'm not mistaken, his name was Lame, something like that. I can't remember. But that's our father was. He was a high priest. Okay. Anybody else got anything? Everybody good? Okay, so
Yes,
tomorrow we'll be on Clubhouse at 8 o'clock. So I'll see everybody then at 8 o'clock tomorrow for Clubhouse. Say shalom. And like I said, I'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock.